All right. Hello, everybody. Jon Jones here. Socrates said that 90% of learning is really the process of remembering. And so today I want to remind you to just keep your business simple, right? Don't overcomplicate things, right? Confucius said, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. We do that, don't we? Our ego wants us to believe that our business is complex. Why do you think that is? Well, it's really this. When things are complicated, and when we live in a complicated environment and world, then we have access to a cornucopia of excuses and justifications. Think about it. Right? When we have a simplified world, when we believe that the task at hand and the key to success is quite simple, now the onus is placed on ourselves. So it takes a little more courage, if you will, to think of the world in simplistic terms, because it means it's really now up to you when the path is simple, right? When the path is complicated, then of course, we have no reasons for distractions and inefficiencies and inactivity and so forth. I want to encourage you to have the bravery and the courage to think of your business as being simple. Richard Branson said, complexity is your enemy. Any fool can make something complicated. The trick is to make things simple. If you really think about it, modern day genius is not about complicating something, but it's about simplifying efficiency, simplifying technology, simplifying systems. Because when we simplify, that's when human beings take action, right? We need to see the relationship here. Complexity equals thinking. Thinking reduces action. I can tell you from being a Division I athlete, I played college football, and I'll tell you what, if you have a complex game plan, if the athletes on the field are thinking about their role and responsibility because they got this complicated system that the coaches are trying to get them to follow, it slows the athletes way, way down, right? An athlete that's thinking is a step too slow. Right? A step too slow to make the plays that need to be made. And you know what? The same exact thing is true in business today. If we have complexity in front of us, we'll hesitate, right? We'll think, we'll justify, right? We won't take action. And I think you guys would agree with me on this, that we don't make too much money in this business when we're thinking about stuff, right? Right? Thinking does not make us a lot of money. Real simple. There's three things that really drive revenue in this business. We're either prospecting, consulting, advising, coaching, right? Or we're closing, negotiating a deal. Those three things make us money, right? Here's a question to ponder. How often, how much time are you spending energy on those three things? This week, it's Friday, end of the week. This week, how much time was spent on prospecting, consulting, and closing? I'm willing to bet there's some opportunity to improve there. You know, in lifting weights, they call it TUT, time under tension, right? If you want to grow a muscle, you got to put that muscle under tension over a period of time. Right? And people argue and debate about this machine and this exercise and how many sets you should do and how many reps you should do. And people can complicate the heck out of it. But the bottom line is, the scientists will tell you, it all comes down to time under tension. Put the muscle under tension more often and it will grow. I submit to you, the same is true when it comes to performing our business and driving results, right? And here's the deal. If you got a deal to close, go close it. If you got a client that needs coaching and support, go coach them, go support them. And if you don't have someone to close, you don't have someone to coach and support, then you should prospect. Prospect, right? We like to complicate our marketing, especially, right? We want to complicate marketing because, again, that will puts us in our comfort zone, in a place of hesitation and distraction and justification and excuses. And I want to share this with you. At the end of the day, when it comes to marketing, all the marketing strategies that are out there really all boil down to one moment where we invite someone to learn more, right? Or if they're interested in how franchising can produce wealth and freedom for them, right? So when it's all said and done, right? Whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, a social media posting, a podcast, portal leads, right? A webinar, educational marketing, networking events, print advertising, emailing to various different databases and niches, building referral sources. All these things basically are just mechanisms to create a moment by which we, by email, text, or verbally, ask the question, are you willing to explore franchising with me? There's a lot of different ways to say it, but ultimately it kind of comes down to that, right? All these are just, think of it, all these are just mechanisms to get us to a point where we ask the question to somebody, are you willing to explore what franchising might be able to do for you? And explore the right franchise for you. Let's see what that looks like. Are you willing to do that with me? Here's a question. This last week, how many times did your business pose that question to somebody? How many times did you ask somebody if they were willing to go explore franchising with you? Right? Look, when you coach sales professionals as long as I have, I will tell you one of the things that demoralizes results and demoralizes mindset, right, and energy and passion when you're in professional sales is an empty calendar, you guys. An empty calendar. And empty calendars are not an accident. Empty calendars are not a mystery. And neither are full calendars. Empty calendars simply mean that the question was not asked enough, right? The question of, are you willing to explore this opportunity with me? That question was not posed to enough people, right? You see an empty calendar, you look at the professional, the business owner, and simply ask the question, well, I'm just curious, how many people did you invite to get on your calendar? And the answer is usually very, very, very small. So let's think about this very simple so that we get ourselves into an action mode. That's what this is all about. And look, of course, I want to encourage you and I want to brainstorm with you. How can we be smart, right? How can we be smart, not just work hard, but how can we work smart? We need to do that. But just let's also realize that sometimes working hard is working smart, right? And while we're trying to find the perfect marketing method that's going to give us the best return with the least amount of money and the least amount of effort, while we're trying to figure that out, let's do that at nighttime, right? Do that when you have insomnia or something like that. But during business hours that you have allocated, whatever that means to you, during the time that you've allocated to drive your business, make sure you're not contemplating the marketing universe, but instead you're focusing on the revenue generating activities that will load your calendar, load your pipeline, and bring you the success and the confidence and the rewards that you deserve. At the end of the day, you guys, it's about asking. It's about inviting people all the time. Business is kind of like throwing a party. If you want more people to come to your party, then you just invite more people, right? Invite more people to learn about franchising and what franchising might be to them. Would you like to explore with me how franchising might be a great vehicle for you to achieve the wealth and the freedom that you're looking for, right? How many times can we ask that question to somebody with potential in a day, right? I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes from a guy named Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He says there's really three most important things in business, and this is a pretty wealthy guy, you guys. He's a multi-billionaire. Jerry Jones, again, he thinks it very simple. Three things important in business. You guys ready for this? He says, number one, ask for the business. And then he said, number two, three, I forget what they are. Guys, sometimes it's just a matter of, you know what? We got to ask for the business more often. Asking for an exploratory conversation, right? Asking for the presentation of a great brand and a franchise opportunity that you feel really would be a good fit for this particular individual, right? Asking if they want to take a next step and really do some due diligence and to really get to know this brand to see if it's right for them. Asking them to commit to a discovery day, right? And asking them when they want to start moving towards their dreams, full steam ahead, right? So, guys, let's keep it simple, right? Of course, we're going to be strategizing. Of course, we're going to be working on improving resources and idea sharing. Of course, we're going to do that. At the same time, we have to have the discipline and the focus and the intelligence to realize that this business is really about activity. And one of the most powerful activities we have is inviting people to come explore franchising with us. Guys, have an awesome day. Remember, full pipelines, full hearts can't lose. Have a great day.